Three periods of preparation for Easter. The first period is called pre-Lent, which spans from Septugesima Sunday, that's today, to Ash Wednesday, March 5th, when Lent begins. Now, Lent lasts 40 days, not including Sundays, and ends on Maundy, Thursday, April 17th this year. Then the final preparation period is the Sacred Triduum, Maundy, Thursday, Good Friday, and Holy Saturday. So you may ask, why in the 6th century did the Roman Church add to Easter preparation a pre-Lenten season? Now, the best explanation I came upon is that Rome wanted to instill some moral readiness for their upcoming Lenten fasting and the prayer obligations. To signify the new season, certain liturgical changes were made, as you can see, including violet vestments and the suspension of the Alleluia, such as at the end of the Lord's Prayer. Now, there are 3 Sundays in the pre-Lent season. Their names come from the Latin for the numbers 70th, Septuagesima, 70 days away from Easter, 60th, Sexagesima, and 50th, Quinquagesima. And they're often referred to as the Gesima Sundays. Now, their propers come from the ancient Roman rite and Sarum Missal. Today's Holy Gospel, which Father Crowder chanted, is a parable about a vineyard owner and the laborers he hired to work for them. We're all very familiar with this. We've heard it for many, many years. We've grown up in the church. But to fully appreciate this parable, we have to go back a few verses before. You see, this parable is the second half of Jesus' response to a question by Peter. In Matthew 19, verse 27, Peter asks Jesus, "Behold, we have forsaken all and followed thee. What shall we have thereof, or therefore?" Essentially, Peter is pointing out to Jesus that he and the other disciples have sacrificed more than anyone else. So, what reward should they expect for doing that? I believe Jesus was taken aback by Peter's question because it revealed 2 harmful mindsets or attitudes in his disciples that he needed to correct before they would truly become fishers of men. First, they were too preoccupied with their merit rather than their service. And second, he saw that they had a presumption of privilege because of the sacrifices they made to follow him. We have to remember that Jesus' answer is in 2 parts, and seen together, it is a sharp rebuke to their self-absorption. He begins his answer, first part of this, "Verily I say unto you that ye which have followed me in the regeneration when the Son of Man shall sit in the throne of his glory, ye also shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel." I believe he is mocking them with the assurance of these personal thrones. He sees that they do not yet understand that the kingdom of heaven is built on grace and not on rewards. Therefore, Jesus immediately begins to tell them through this parable how the kingdom of heaven really works, how it really is established. He says, "The kingdom of heaven is like unto a man that is an householder, which went out early in the morning to hire laborers into his vineyard. And when he had agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, he sent them into his vineyard. So the first group of laborers and the vineyard owner agreed upon a penny each for a day's work. Soon, though, the owner saw that there were others idling about and available for work. So over the course of the day, he told them, Go ye also into the vineyard, and whatsoever is right, I will give you." Note that these laborers, who were hired at different times during the course of the day, agreed to work not for a penny, but for a promise. Whatsoever is right, that shall ye receive. It is very likely that the owner offered the first group of laborers the same promise, but they turned it down, for they wanted a guaranteed wage for their work. There was probably some negotiating before the owner eventually agreed with the laborers for a penny a day, and he sent them into his vineyard. Do you see the difference between the two groups of laborers? A penny versus a promise. The first laborers expected a payment, while the others accepted a promise. Mistrust versus trust. So, when even was come, the Lord of the vineyard saith unto his steward, Call the laborers and give them their hire, beginning from the last unto the first. Now is when the disciples who are listening learn that the foundation of the kingdom of heaven is God's grace. For the vineyard owner gave more than was merited to the laborers who trusted in his promise. By the vineyard's owner's good grace, they too received a penny. After seeing what the others were paid, those who rejected the promise of payment and received what they negotiated murmured against the good man of the house, saying, These last have wrought but 1 hour, and thou hast made them equal unto us, which have borne the burden and heat of the day. There was no gratitude, neither for the penny they received, nor the wonderful act of grace given to the other laborers. Instead, they exhibited the same two harmful attitudes or mindsets that Jesus saw in Peter's question: preoccupation with merit and a presumption of privilege. Through this parable, Jesus is telling his disciples and us not to focus on the penny, but on the promise. For it is through the promise that we will receive God's grace. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and of the Holy